Let's turn our phones off.
What I tell you, I tell you, no worries.
I won't keep up with who's making motions and not.
You are?
Yeah.
What you gonna do with
You
it?
lied,
Nothing,
Steve.
I just put checks by.
You lied.
Which time?
He says,
Yeah.
no, he says you're live.
Oh, okay. Thank
He
you.
thought you said you're live.
I heard the same thing you did, Steve. So.
I knew what he's talking about.
All right, good morning. Thank you for coming to our, what is this, June 19th board meeting. We have some real important things, and we have some things that are sensitive to other people that are important to them too. So I want to get started and call this meeting to order. I'm going to ask if Craig will say a blessing for us.
Yes, sir. I will. Let's pray. Lord, as always, we gather first before you and acknowledge your presence here with us, and thank you, Lord, for being here. Thank you for the wisdom and discernment that you're going to give these men this morning as they carry out the business of the county, as they use the skills and the abilities that you've given to them, you bless them with, to serve this community. I pray, Father, that the community will feel well served, and that, Father, that what we do here today will be pleasing to you. But Lord, we think about the folks who've been out most of last night, Lord, to try to take care of us, to try to help to render security and safety to everybody. Father, to take care of situations even when it's inconvenient. Lord, I thank you for them and their service. Help us to never take them for granted. Thank you for protecting them and keeping them safe in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Under public comments, we don't have a lot, but before we start, I would like for the board to have an opportunity to thank everyone, our citizens, our EOC, our road department, our sheriff's department, our inmate crew, our county administrator, and anybody else that had something to do with helping clean up. A lot of people couldn't leave their homes. A lot of people didn't have electricity for several days. And our county, I think, come together and accomplished what we needed immediately to be accomplished. They executed like a well-oiled machine. Guys, y'all.
I think our Southern Pine Energy and Central Electric and all these linemen that's been working 24/7. I mean, they've been getting after it, and of course our road crew and sheriff's department, and they were on top of everything and getting these roads opened up for our first responders. But everybody did a great job. I know there's still folks without power, but I think it would be back on in the next day or two.
All right, well, let's move on. Come on in, Jared. We haven't taken on anything, about you.
Heard that praying.
Nothing, we didn't do anything to take any of your budget.
Thank you. I got much left.
Yeah. All right, we have a presentation today. It's pretty sensitive to one or more families in here, and I want Craig to take over. This young man has rose to the top and is going to be recognized for that. And I don't expect this to be the last time that he'll be recognized for his works.
Yes, sir. Gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure on behalf of the Mississippi Association of Supervisors, all of which you guys are members of. We spent the last week down there on the coast being a part of MAS's annual convention. And this is something that we do each year. The Mississippi Association of Supervisors provides a scholarship, an academic-based scholarship, a leadership-based scholarship for any kids of county employees across the state. And it gives me great pleasure to recognize one gentleman in particular. Wyatt, come forward. This is not a stranger to us, although y'all may not have met him directly. This is his son, Wyatt. He's his youngest son. Stand right here, Wyatt. Just like your dad, I have to give instructions. I have to down to the last detail. I have to just stand right there, don't move. I'm treating just like your dad. So Wyatt is Keith's son, and we are really, really proud. He's also Tracy's son, I apologize. We are really, really proud of Wyatt. I have gotten to know Wyatt basically through Keith's bragging, and it's pretty incessant. He brags a lot. You're familiar with that, and with good reason. Wyatt is an extraordinary young man in that, and I'm just gonna read off what Keith printed for me to read so that I wouldn't forget anything. But I want to cycle through some of this, no pun intended. Wyatt is an extraordinarily gifted cyclist, mountain bike specialist, to the point where he was courted by one of the, if not the best, I think it's the best program in the entire country to come to Colorado and to ride mountain bikes as a part of his college education. They were going to offer you like free scholarship money, tuition, and whatnot to come. This is to a little college in Durango, Colorado. One of the most awesome places on the planet, by the way, to do mountain biking if you're going to do that. But that's how accomplished he is. He's an accomplished competitive cyclist with multiple regional and national podium finishes since 2018. And he is the champion for 21 and 22 of the National Interscholastic Cycling Association. He is the mountain bike varsity champion, 21 and 22. I got both of those. Did I get those right? So that's the athletic side, but Wyatt's extraordinary in so many other ways. So MAS says, let's single out kids like Wyatt, and let's make sure that they're provided some award for their hard work and their effort, and that's what Wyatt is receiving today. So on behalf of the MAS and on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, Wyatt, we are really, really proud, because this is what you came for right here. There's the check. We're really, really proud to be able to give you that check. I've also got a certificate here, but let me read off his academic qualifications as well. First and foremost, are you a freshman at Delta State or a sophomore?
Well, going into my sophomore year,
All right, going
but a junior for hours.
All right, junior for hours, sophomore year, so he's already overachieving there. He maintains a 4.0, President's List scholar, no doubt about that. He is a member of the Delta State University Precision Flight Team called the Flying Okra. You may wonder, why is he on the flight team? Well, he is pursuing a degree in flight operations. So we're looking at a kid that's going to be a pilot. You're going to be flying us around. Hopefully you'll be flying us to D.C. from time to time.
Right.
So we'll have somebody that we know helping us there. He's already progressed through the FAA licensing process. He's currently enrolled in what's called the Commercial Multi-Engine Training Program. He is the FedEx Purple Runway Scholarship recipient and the DSU Aviation Alumni Association Scholarship recipient, and he is planning to pursue an airline pilot certification immediately upon graduation. Right, Wyatt, you have done a lot in your young years, and we are really, really proud to know you and your family. We appreciate the fact that we have an opportunity to recognize you, and you have earned every dollar of the scholarship. So with that, we want to say congratulations to you, young man, on just how far you've achieved in such a short period of time.
Great job.
I'm going to ask Keith and Tracy to come up, and let's get a picture of Wyatt with the board.
Do we want to step down there or stand up here? Just move over.
I had to get next to you eventually.
Yeah.
Wyatt, I'm sorry, man. You look like you graduated junior high.
Thank you.
Hey, you feel special.
There you go. That's right. That's right.
Hey, Wyatt, it's obvious that you got most of your genes from your mother.
I would like to be a county administrator.
Congratulations.
Maybe one day.
That represents
Well,
half like the
if
price,
everything
right?
else falls
Only
through,
fly.
that'd be something to consider.
Yeah, I'll get you about 30 minutes.
Oh, man, come on now.
This reminds me of years ago on Johnny Carson. the spelling bee champion was on, and he had a personality similar. Oh my word, it was, if you hadn't ever seen it, pull it up. Johnny Carson and the spelling bee champion. The guy's obviously smart, way smart, and he was quick too. He had dry wit. I imagine this guy does too. But anyhow, thank you very much. Thank you, the family, because I know you have received these awards and probably put in, I don't know how many hours, days, years, but I'm sure your parents have been there to support you, and that means so much. So thank them too for us. Okay? All right, let's go move on.
Yes, sir. We're still in the public comment, Mr.
Yes.
President. If you'll look at item D, we have a discussion of a potential action regarding written requests for assistance that have been received from the Rankin County School District. That's related to both Supervisor District 3 and Supervisor District 4 schools. And this is a request for various road department activities. And so the request was made that we have an opportunity to go through and discuss these. And so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Shane Sanders is here on behalf of the school district and can be available to help walk us through part of that discussion. Shane, you mind coming forward? And what, just as a quick setup, the school district typically will aggregate for purposes of activity during the summer when the kids are out of school, when there's not any vehicle traffic at the schools. They'll aggregate their requests for assistance, most of which relates to parking lot, parking area type work. It's invariably, you'll find places where parts of the parking lots in the schools can get soft, start coming apart on us. And so what they'll do is they'll aggregate those requests and then send them in mass. And about this time of year is when they will typically hit for us. And how that works under state law, we have to get a written request from the school district first. We've gotten that. Typically what I will do then, gentlemen, is I will take and go through the requests depending on how they come in, and I will separate them by supervisor district, and then I will send out to each of the supervisors the requests that relate to their district, and put each supervisor on notice that the requests have come in. And I always ask, it's just a matter of course, if there is any reason why there should be a delay in any of these, please speak up. Otherwise, we're going to take care of these in our normal routine. On this particular occasion, we want to have a quick discussion about the costs associated with performing these services in relation to the way that the school district budgets for these kinds of activities, and then come up with some sort of discussion that helps us to get to a point where it becomes equitable and fair for both the school district and the Board of Supervisors at the same time. So, Shane, that's the background.
Hey, good morning, y'all.
Good morning,
morning.
Mr. Shane.
So, y'all, I know we've got, I know Mike and his team, we've got a one request at Puckett to add some additional parking. And then we've got a request at Pelahatchie to do the same. He and his guys are working through that. And then, as Mr. Craig said, every summer we submit, and we've done this, well, I've been in this position, I guess, 10 years. This is my 10th year. We've done this every year. We used to do just one single request, and I think about 17 or 18, Mr. Craig asked us to start, splitting those up to make sure everything was legitimate and we had all of our ducks covered as far as the legalities of the statute and everything. And every June, we'll send these in. We did an assessment, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and we actually, as far as patching parking lots, y'all, we've done a lot of paving in the last 5 years. You guys were involved with a lot of that, and we were partners on a lot of that. But we've got on about 5 different campuses. We've got a little bit at Florence Middle, a little bit at Northwest Middle, a spot or 2 at Stonebridge, spot or 2 at Florence Hill. They're minor. I was telling Brad earlier, we might have a dozen what I would call potholes total. And if we need to deal with those ourselves and let Mike and his crew, and look, I tell folks all the time, and I ain't just saying this because I'm standing up in front of y'all right now. y'all were down there last week, we were at a conference down there last week too. I was talking to another, he was an assistant superintendent, and I said, look, I'm gonna tell y'all, I got 30 years in, if we didn't have the relationship with our Board of Supervisors and our road crew and our sheriff's office that we have in Rankin County, I'd turn my paperwork into PERS tomorrow. So we're appreciative of all that you guys, and Mike and the sheriff do for us. And like I said, if we need to deal with those few on our own, we're perfectly prepared to do that, so.
Well, I mean, on me, Shane, I mean, I know we work good together with the school, and this is I guess, this year being an election, of course, we can't have over so many employees with the road department, and I just, me personally, I don't know if it'd be better just to let one of our vendors go out and patch these holes, because, I mean, I know Mike's got a lot of chip seal and a lot of road work this summer to do, but, I mean, if we had to break down a list on where the holes are, what potholes and what school, that'd make it a lot easier for Mike to go instead of trying to ride around all these parking lots.
We can, like I said, we can get with Mike, that's no problem, and just work through that with like you say, one of our vendors that y'all use, and we use the same ones.
Yeah.
And so they're on our vendor list. In fact, like I said, we've had several projects going on this summer already with those guys. So we can certainly do that. We can take that and we can roll with it. I mean, y'all can.
Are these like, looks like potholes that the pothole patcher could do, or these something gotta be dug
They're
out?
just little, yes, sir. It's not, our bad place, and Mike has looked at this, he's looked at this where, but our biggest need, y'all, is at the bus shop. And they're working through that. But again, these on these campuses, y'all, we can handle. I mean, we got them. They're easy. Like I said, we can get rolling on those, here in the next couple of weeks. So.
Any other question?
I don't.
What do you want us to, what are you asking us for?
Well, we have the written requests that are ready, and they relate to each school. They do a great job, by the way, of making it clear on the request which school it is and what work is required. So I have no quibble whatsoever with that. We know where the issue is and where they've asked for some assistance. So what y'all are discussing is when the county is required to take care of that, there's kind of a time frame that we fall under.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to get that done before school starts. So you've got about a 2-month window right there to get it done. There's gonna be a budgetary impact for you guys because it's coming out of road funds. Typically, if it's a large material type order, Shane knows this,
Right.
we require the school district to pay for the materials, we comp the labor and the equipment, okay, if we're handling it in-house. So they always pick up the materials, but there is a cost for us carrying labor and the equipment. There's what we're doing for the school district, we're not able to do out for other areas of the county, right? So there's you're limited on what you can do because of the number of employees that you got in the road crew at the moment. That should get better in September, because by September, we will know what the majority of the Board of Supervisors is, won't we?
No, November.
Now, by August the 8th, we will know what the majority of.
Majority, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Steve was like, he is the majority, you need to be more concerned about him.
Yes. I'm trying to be appropriately concerned.
Thank you.
But y'all, I think on our end, Mike and his guys are doing the project at Puckett and the project at Pelahatchie. Let us deal with the potholes. We got it.
And y'all got that
We
in your
got it.
budget that
Yep.
y'all can do that?
We got it.
And then we take care of the bus barn with Mike and however y'all work it out.
We would be eternally grateful.
Okay.
If
All right.
if we do that.
So what I may need to do, Shane, is to go back through the written requests that we've gotten and figure out which of those are gonna remain as requests that the county's gonna handle,
I
and which
thought
of
we
those.
already received those a couple months ago.
They have.
That, we have received those, I think, a month or two.
Dirt moving.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right. Those were, Mr. Craig alluded to, those are the ones that we were funding, and Mike and his guys are doing it. And they're, but no, the pothole requests, those, we got that, y'all.
Okay.
Shane, are the requests that we got within the last week or so, is that all pothole?
Let me double check them. I
Mind
think
checking
the
that?
majority of them are. I think, in fact,
Well, from what I could tell, it was like every school
it's
in
all
Rankin
28.
County.
That's
Yeah.
right. It's all 28 of our campuses is what but y'all, again, they don't near about. like I
They
said,
all don't need
Six.
pothole, yeah.
6 locations and maybe a dozen, so it's just kind of the protocol we followed before. And if we need to look at a different, we got it, we're
Okay,
good.
all right. Appreciate it, son.
Thank y'all.
Thank you for
Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
coming and visiting with us.
Don't you retire anytime soon.
Yeah.
Hey, look, again, y'all, like I said, not just saying it because I'm standing up in front of y'all, but I would not want to do my job. I wouldn't do my job with my responsibilities without y'all's support and what y'all do for us, what Mike and the sheriff does for us. I go to these other places and I don't, a lot of times we lose sight of how lucky we are. We are lucky.
Well,
Thank y'all.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
son.
Thank you, man.
We enjoy the same
Yeah.
relationship with y'all.
Absolutely.
All
Mr.
right.
President, can I ask for your indulgence on one additional item that you could consider under public comment, if you will?
Yes.
And that is an update on Monterey Volunteer Fire Department
Yes.
and that situation?
Yes.
All right. If I may.
And I heard them out last night doing a great job, too.
Yes, sir. Okay.
They were responding to a lot.
So this is a quick update, gentlemen, from our last board meeting. It seems like forever ago, June, whenever that was, 1st of June. You were advised at that time that there had been a wholesale resignation of the volunteers, 14 of the volunteers from Monterey Volunteer Fire Department had tendered their resignation. 2 additional volunteers had been asked to leave the department, so a total of 16 exits, so to speak. So two involuntaries and 14 tendered their resignation. And there was concern over the situation of the roster with the volunteer fire department. And so that information came to light. We had a discussion here in the board about that. The board made a decision to eliminate or terminate, at least on a temporary basis, the rank structure of the fire department, to provide a process by which the fire coordinator would canvass the community to try to locate as many as 5 or 6 individuals from the community that did not have a direct connection or affiliation with the department who would be willing to serve as a new board of directors for the department, and essentially recreate the structure of the department. And then you temporarily appointed the fire coordinator to serve in the capacity as temporary chief. You set a period of not to exceed 90 days for that, and you instructed myself and the fire coordinator to try to educate the community and the fire department about what the board's decision had been and the effort that should and could be made to kind of stand the department back up. And so this is a quick report to let you know that there was an organization-wide meeting that was held at EOC on, I've forgotten the day, shortly after the board meeting. And so they were informed about the board's decision. I think they were already aware. And the attendance there at the meeting was very representative of the department and the community, to include, I think, all of the individuals that had tendered their resignation. They were all there. The 2 individuals that had been terminated were all there, and the remaining members of the department were there. And so it was a good representation of the department itself. I spent just a little bit of time trying to help walk them through why the board made the decision that it did. There were not very many questions. I don't know if they felt really open to ask a lot of questions. It was a little bit of a tense situation given the situation that had developed. and some of the acrimony that was there among the members, and some of the issues that had gone in the past. But we made it clear that Brett was going to serve in the capacity as a temporary chief and helps sort of bring some form of organizational structure back. Brett has reached out to individuals in the community and has found 6 individuals in the community who are willing to serve as in the nature of an independent board, I guess, as independent as you can be in that situation. Folks with skills and abilities and concerns about the community and a willingness to want to help and all this kind of thing. It's unpaid, so it's not glamorous by any stretch of the imagination. But he's found 6 individuals who are willing to serve, and they have various experiences. Brad, I'll let you come and explain to the board who the potential board members are. So what we would like to do at this stage is to have you guys acknowledge that there are 6 individuals who are willing to serve in that board membership position. Consider whether or not it would be appropriate for this board to appoint them in those positions, and allow at that point for them to then go back to the department and organize the process of electing department leadership. Okay? That's kind of where we are. That's the next step in the process. And so that they will be, their board, this new board would then oversee the process of allowing for a reestablishment of leadership within the department. And so that's kind of where we are at this point. Brett, anything you want to add? Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind. Brett's got he's got the list of the individual members of the board for your consideration.
Good morning.
Morning.
As Craig said, I did go around in the community, reach out to some citizens that live in the community. First on there is Bradley Koff, Curtis Marbury, Billy Baldry, Mr. Keith Dean, Johnny Jones, and Roy Sanford. Talked to every one of them. They all live in the community. They're all willing to serve, help look out for the benefit of Monterey Volunteer Fire Department.
And they'll be on this board here on out.
Actually, we will look at how their board structured. They need to follow the bylaws of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Monterey Volunteer Fire Department has bylaws that they follow. The bylaws should explain what the rotation of the board is, and they need to follow that. What happens right now is they're filling unexpired terms of the board members that they're replacing. You've actually got 6 instead of 5, which is typical, and I think that's an indication that there's the possibility that if any one of the 6 decides at some point that they don't want to be involved in this, you've got 5 left who can serve and function at that board. But if they can all remain and function, you've got a 6-member board, which can be a little tedious, as you can imagine. You can end up with a 3-3 situation, makes it a little difficult. I'm glad I don't have 6 supervisors.
So are they the one that select the chief and the assistant
Yeah,
chief?
so I think what they're gonna do is they're going to set up an election for chief and assistant chief.
Okay.
That board needs to set up the process where the department can elect their leadership. Okay? So we need to all you're doing is saying, here is your board, now go forward and get yourself organized from a leadership perspective.
Is it possible to end up back with the same chief we had to start with?
Yes, sir.
It could be.
Possible.
But that department is going to have to say that that's how it's gonna be. And, just practically speaking, Jay, the 14 who tendered their resignation was a majority of the active membership of that department. And I dare say that decision was based on, at least to some degree, dissatisfaction with the current leadership of the department.
Okay.
So I would be surprised if the current membership, if they remain active in the department, I would be surprised if they willingly vote for the fellow that was in fact the chief to remain the chief. I would be surprised.
All right.
Now, they may surprise me.
So do we need to make a motion to add this to the agenda?
Yes, sir.
And then, okay.
Do they go through any type vetting like a fire department employee before?
So we do background checks, all
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
We actually run that through the sheriff's department, so yes, all of them get background checks.
Okay.
Steve, there's a standard operating guidelines that all of our fire departments operate under.
Yes.
That is a work product of the county, and it is associated with the contract that you guys enter into with each of our fire departments. The contract for fire protection services. When they enter that contract, they accept what's called a standard operating guidelines document, and in that SOG, there are qualifications for their membership, and they have to abide by those. And one of those is they got a clear background check.
Yep. All right. Do we have a motion to add this to the agenda?
I'll make a motion to add this to
Second.
the agenda.
All right, Brad makes a motion, Jared seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now do I have a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion to approve the 6 people that were named as,
Jared's already seconded. All right, Brad made the motion to approve, Jared
Let you have
seconded.
it if you really want
Uh,
You go ahead.
There's a little debate here. Okay, Jared got it. All right, motion. Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes. All right, old business. Do we have any discussion on our old businesses? Anybody?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right, Jay makes a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Daniel seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Consent agenda. We had a chance to look at the consent.
Yeah, I got a question. Can we pull, I want to pull 1C off.
1C,
Yeah.
okay. 2. Uh-huh. All right. Well, there's one other thing before we accept the consent that Mr. Hicks can explain, and I just want it read aloud, said
Yes, sir.
aloud.
Yes, sir. Item J is the.
J?
Yes, sir. It's the authority to conduct repairs and improvements at Star Baptist Church. The parking areas to provide ADA accessibility. Earlier this year, the board voted to move the voting precinct from the Star Volunteer Fire Department over to Star First Baptist Church. And we knew at the time we were gonna have to make some ADA accessible parking spaces available. And that's what this agenda item does. It allows us to go in and provide parking spaces with a smooth surface. And all we're doing is parking spaces. We're not doing a parking
And,
lot or a driveway or anything.
It
It's just parking
doesn't
spaces.
give us the authority to work on any other church.
No, sir.
Unless they're a voting precinct.
Correct.
And that would be for their ADA parking
Right.
lots.
Yes, sir.
All right,
That code section's under the election code.
yeah.
And that's how.
I think
we
it's
authority to do that.
clean and clear if we know it's a precinct. Can we bring this one out? Do we need to make a motion to bring it out? See, the one that Jay's talking about?
Yes, sir. If he's willing to modify, has there been a motion to approve the consent?
no.
No,
Okay.
we haven't.
So, the motion would be to approve it with the exception of item J,
C.
which would be
C.
placed under additional business.
C, I believe it is.
Oh, 1C.
Yep. All right, do we have a motion to approve consent agenda without item 1C?
So moved.
All right, Jay makes a motion. That was
Second.
Daniel seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Now, do we want to deal with C?
We can do that as an add.
Or at
Yes, sir.
back
under the
end?
Agenda.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We could do it as additional business if we can remember to do
I
that.
can write it down because I won't remember it.
Let's do that.
Yeah, okay. We have somebody from the tax assessor. Come on up. Lance, how you doing today? A little tired?
I'm just a little tired.
Whenever I was recognizing everybody, you fit in several of those categories. So I didn't specifically say Lance, but the guy that's sitting in the chair right there with the sheriff's department, man, I thank you. I thank y'all. Thank you. All
Quite
right.
welcome. Just here to help, brother. Just here to help. All right, we got a petition to adjust the 2022 homestead exemption supplemental roll.
Motion?
Approved.
Second.
All right, I made a motion, Brad second, Jared's in there for second or third. Any other comments, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, Bridget, Miss Bridget.
I think we need to get one of them little lights that you put up and you hit it and everything else stuff. That way.
Good morning. I'm requesting approval to award the semi-annual term bids for the unit system for the period of July 1 through December 31st of this year. You had the recommendations in your packet.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right. We have a motion by Brad, a second by Jared. Any other discussion?
Yes, sir. I don't see on here, who do we go with on the, on number 2? Pro Seal, Micro.
Item 4, the no bid on the first 3 items is the second thing y'all have.
I got all kind of forms over here, so.
It's the second one.
Second staple group?
Yes.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
But Vance Brothers, it's what you can see.
Yeah. So, all right, so what is 4A, Mike? Micro surfacing modified. So Vance got that one, then T.L. Wallace got the other 2. So how does this break down out of those 3 options?
Jay, they gonna vary a little bit.
It's honestly gonna be based on, because we use that item 4A and B. It's really gonna be up to Mike when they get ready to do those roads, because it's gonna be, they use both of those, the aggregates and that, so
Well, that's
he'll.
what
So the
So-
micro modified is just a regular old micro, Jay. That's what we started with when we started this venture.
All right.
And then we swapped over to the micro modified type 2, which is the E-Flex type material that'll move around a little bit when people get out
We
on
started
it.
that
But,
last year?
year before, but anyway, it breaks
Kinda like
down.
slurry, is that how that slurry you put over it?
Well, it's a micro.
I know, but I mean,
There's
is
a
that,
difference
is
between-
that the one that runs? When I say that, I know what to put on my road up here.
Yeah, that was the E-Flex right there.
Is that the other? Yeah.
That's right.
I
That's
mean,
the
it
type
kinda,
2.
it kinda runs out.
Yeah, they
kinda
pull
thing.
like a rug over it or something.
Huh?
Don't they do
But,
like drag a rug?
Yeah.
But I've done some figuring on
Straight
this,
out.
Jay, and I mean, y'all have to make a decision on it, but the breakdown of between Wallace and Vance,
Seals
and
cracked.
it's a little different because we
Seal
use
cracked.
gallons now.
After they put the rock down.
So if you go to, I broke this down, if you go to 18 gallons, Vance is cheaper. When you go to 22, that's what we use. There's 3 cents difference between them and Wallace per gallon. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
So you really won't know until he gets the road to determine how much of the aggregate and the asphalt, and that's when he'll tell me and I'll issue it to that
So,
one based on it.
are we even doing any of the modified or the first one? Do we do,
we've had POs issued for that right now.
we're still doing that?
The,
I mean, we
the
went
first
through
one, no, sir.
Which one you calling first?
4A.
4A.
You gotta give them the second, hey, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to go to the second pamphlet stapled
Oh,
together.
that's what I'm losing.
That.
Yeah,
Right here, yeah. Looks like this.
yeah, you're gonna take all them apart.
23-300
It's
-2.
the
Yeah.
second staple group.
I got you. Wondering where she's coming up with that. All right.
So, well, tell me, Mike, and so, just so I understand better, so we're putting the E-Flex down versus doing what we started 5, 6 years ago. Are we, what determines using one or the other?
We typically try to use the E-Flex in subdivisions, because of power steering, turning and stuff like that, because it'll lay back down, Jay, as traffic gets on it.
Okay,
So if it makes a mark, somebody pulls out when it's a little uncured and makes a mark, once traffic gets on it, it'll roll back out. And we're actually using it on our other roads too, we're getting better life
so we're not
out of
even
it.
using the first option at all anymore?
Not hardly, no.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get at.
And it also is, like I said, this thing's kind of based on emulsion and aggregate, the way we got it priced right now, because we kind of do what the road calls for. I mean, the road we may go out there and say it needs 18, but what we found out with the 18, that's where we first started at. It wasn't quite putting enough down. So we kept upping it and we got to the 22. And that's the way we had it originally spec'd. That's all we could put down was 18. Now we done got up to 22 gallons and we seem to be getting longer lasting life out of the product on the road.
Well, my concern is just the winning vendor here has not been very responsive to our needs, and
I agree with you.
hadn't showed up. I think they're here now, but it hasn't been very responsive up till this point.
So, which vendor are we talking
T.L.
about?
Wallace.
T.L. Wallace.
Or leave when they get ready to leave.
Or last year, they
Left
backed
during the
up and
middle.
left in the middle of a subdivision.
Yeah, you got that data on the
I don't
back.
have that in their packet.
But we don't know what Vance Brothers is gonna do either though, so. What's this?
She's making
It just shows from the date I issued the PO until received
Yeah,
and the time it took, and then the one that was voided is just, we never could get them to respond. We had to void it. It was about
so
$150,000
it's good
worth of work.
2+ months every time,
Sometimes longer.
yeah.
Sometimes they just won't respond at all, and then do the work and they want to invoice, they've got a headache.
You was talking about Wallace, aren't you?
Yeah.
They mighty busy south of Hattiesburg.
Well, you know, they said they were gonna do nothing but dedicate to us this year, and I don't know if they've showed up yet to start working. So that's my concern.
I
is,
think they're getting plenty of work from MDOT's. That's my guess. Y'all saw the same thing I did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you guys have the discretion, you always have the discretion, to use your experience with respect to vendors as a basis for continuing a relationship or not.
Well, being that close in price, I
Yep.
would think that, it wouldn't be a lawsuit
Yes.
filed if we,
What you would need to do at this point is to, and, you know, with deference to Ms. Bridget, she's doing exactly what she's required to do, which is present you guys with a bid tab that reflects the bids themselves, right? You guys are the repository of the history with the vendor information. Bridget's not gonna step forward and say, I'm not gonna put T.L. Wallace first, even though they're the low, because I know that the board has questions about that. She's not gonna do that. You guys have to do that. So what you've been presented for 4B and 4C is a recommended vendor, T.L. Wallace, and you can choose to reject the tab that's presented as the recommended and replace T.L. Wallace with Vance Brothers. You can swap them.
Well, I had a terrible experience with Wallace. I would never have believed that a company would do us like they did. From the history we had with them, we spent a lot of money with them. And unbelievable, even the workmanship before they left us.
Yes, sir, we had a pretty good bit of problems last year. And where the difference is in the price, you know, I don't see if it's broke down right here on the next page. Yeah, see, like, when you go to the rock stuff and you go to your stuff, that's where they vary in difference. Like, Vance is a little cheaper on the rock, Wallace is a few cents higher on the rock, and then the emulsion, you know, Vance is higher on and Wallace is cheaper on. But I've kind of broke it down, we're about within 3 to 5 cents of each other is where they're at. Even if we go with our same product and everything, we'll be spending about 5 cents a gallon.
If we can't get either one of them here to do anything, I mean,
Now, the one thing about Wallace, Vance, when Tim did this, Hardwick, he told me that he was pretty booked this summer, but he would get to us as he could, you know, later on. He was doing a big job, and they do a lot of bid jobs, and so they're all over. But they was in Baton Rouge, and see if he got freed up, he'd come in here and knock it out.
oh, it'd be better for us to bid out these jobs and put a,
Brad, the rate we're going,
I mean,
I
'cause,
think
mean,
we're gonna be a couple months before we even get to where we're at, because I mean, I've issued a couple of POs right now, and
But
I
how long
mean,
did it take you to get, I mean, it took them, what, almost 2 months for you to get the estimate?
But I'm just
Just
saying,
need
I
to
mean, you
get
only
some
got a window of time to do all of this.
So basically, what you're telling us though, even if we go with Vance, ain't no guarantee.
Ain't no guarantee we're gonna get anything.
well, Vance is gonna do it. He said he would do it if he was given the work. It's just gonna be later on in the summer before he can do
We're
it.
not
how
talking
much
about
later?
asphalt. This can go up into maybe 1st of November, right?
I usually can work till about Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
Steve, depending on the
Okay.
weather.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So, but he did tell me if he got the bid, you know, when he bid this package, that he was booked with some bid jobs, but he would get to us later this summer.
Well, I'm
That's
good with giving them a
just later
chance.
this summer, leaves it
No, what?
wide
I'm
open.
good with giving them a chance, see
Yeah.
what,
Absolutely.
Huh?
see what they can do. I mean, we know what we got.
I mean, we gotta get it done. We need it done, or we're gonna have to
I mean, we got a pretty
change.
good bid on the books with Wallace right now.
That
you
we've
know.
already issued.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
But they're not doing any of it?
Hadn't started yet.
Been issued for about 3 weeks
Mm.
now.
All right, so I'd like to make those two changes, put Vance as the recommended vendor
All right.
for 4B and 4C.
And the basis for Jay's motion is the board's experience with TL Wallace as the primary vendor under prior arrangements, and that experience has not been positive, has been negative, and as a result, TL Wallace's bid, although it is the lower price, is not the best bid under state law.
All right, I have a motion by Jay,
Second.
second by Jared. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
But now, we had a motion on the Bridges deal. I had a second, but
All right.
we didn't find
Now,
on
like,
that.
do we need, I mean, this is on the agenda, do we need to break it out, Craig?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
All right, do we need to now do a motion?
You need to approve all of the
All of it.
recommendations
Yep.
as modified.
And I made a motion and Jared seconded that.
Okay.
A while ago, but
All right,
we didn't,
we've got a motion by Brad, second by Jared, to approve it with the modifications that
Yeah,
we
that'll
just
work.
voted on.
That'll work.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
A little bit confusing, but,
We got there.
yep. All right, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first item we have is Barksdale Ridge. We're recommending approval of the preliminary plat. That's a District 2 development.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve. I've spoken to Mr. Berg on that situation. It's a fantastic development he's got, so I'll make a motion to approve.
All right. Got a motion by Daniel, second by Jay. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item B, Mr. President, is we're recommending approval of payout number 3 from Hemp Hill Construction, Inc. for work completed on the Andrew Jackson Circle Improvement Project in the amount of $212,234.99, and authority to issue that check.
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Jared, second by Jay. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item C, Mr. President, we're recommending approval of payout number 7 from Hemp Hill Construction Company, Inc. for work completed on the Gunner Road Improvements Project in the amount of $457,884.64, and authority to issue that check.
Motion approved.
Have a motion by Jared,
Second.
second by Jay. Any other discussion?
Tim, you tell us the update and status on it?
So they actually started paving at the end of last week. Got some weather that delayed them, but they've got all the rock down. That project is actually beginning to progress into some, hopefully soon to be finished work. They've got a little bit of work at the 469 intersection tie-in.
So I know you were researching how far they are behind. How far was it?
So at the end of, I think it was, let's see,
I know they've caught up a lot, I guess, what you're telling me.
well, they have, and this, the asphalt catches them up a lot. They're still, in our minds, behind, but this payout doesn't really take us through the, what would get them into damages. I think this app's only through maybe the end of March or some, I don't remember the exact date. But obviously, we're still monitoring that. We're still waiting on them to submit their request for additional days. We don't have that yet. But based on the retainage that we're holding, we certainly have enough to address any damages that would be incurred up to this point.
So when was this supposed to be completed?
I believe it was in April, at the end of April.
End of April?
They've had a lot of weather issues. A lot of weather issues.
So is
Did
there?
y'all vote on that one?
Not yet, we're
Oh, I'm
fixing.
Wow.
He's,
So we don't need to just leave it open-ended for them to take their time and. give you
Absolutely not. No,
information?
no.
Well, I know we've been waiting at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we've told them where we are. We've requested documentation from them. They know where we stand, so they're making an effort to get the project finished. They're not just not showing up for work. They're on the job.
Who's your point of contact there, Timmy?
Brandon Brown is the project manager for that job.
Has he gotten back with you since you requested it?
No, he hasn't gotten the documentation. Of course, he said it was gonna be a stack like this, and we hadn't seen it yet. So we're keeping our days. You know, we reported last month where we were in our mind, and obviously we're just keeping that progressive too. So, and obviously at some point we'll have to.
So we'll just take that as law until they can give something to show otherwise.
Right.
Okay, all right.
all right. We had a motion by Jared, second by Jay. Now, any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. President, I have one item I'd like to add, if it would be the pleasure of the board. It's on the Mill Creek Bank Stabilization Project. That's a ARPA project. The contracts came back from the contractor a little quicker than we thought. They got them signed and back to us late Friday. And we would request authority for the board president to execute the contract documents.
All right, so I'll make a motion to add that to the agenda.
Didn't we have it somewhere in here, under consent or something?
I didn't see it on the document.
I think there's something on the stormwater permit.
Okay,
I
okay,
think
all right.
that Wagner.
All right, so we need to add it.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Daniel to add it, second by Jay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye. So I'll make a motion to approve and award it.
All right. Same way, a motion by Daniel, second by Jay to approve it. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes.
Do we have any updates on any of these other big ARPA projects like Live Oaks or?
Still working with the Corps on Live Oaks. We think we've gotten to the point where we can get the project as close to we originally wanted to do it. I think we made some headway with them. We went to Vicksburg and met with them, and I think we got some things ironed out. We're just trying to put the final details on that, and the Corps has to go in and see which nationwide, there's several nationwide permits that the Corps has, and they're trying to figure out which one it can fit under, so they're actually working with us on that. It's not gonna be exactly like we wanted to do, but it's the main issue is rock in the bottom of a channel. They don't like rock in the bottom of a channel.
They want sand?
They want natural, which would be.
Snapping turtles,
Tadpoles.
tadpoles and snapping turtles.
They'll come.
And water
They'll
moccasins.
come in those rocks. They'll come in those rocks. They'll fit all around in there.
All
All right.
Thank
Tim, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Slade.
They want stuff that can end up in a detention pond to have to be cleaned out at some point, I guess.
I guess
Yeah.
we can group A, B, and C all in one motion, can't we? June the 29th.
Yes, sir, if those are going the same day, yes, sir, I'm asking for those to be set for public hearing.
I'll make a motion, set this public hearing June 29th on A, B, and C.
All right, Brad makes a motion.
Second.
Jared seconds. We're gonna put, what was that, A, B, and C together?
Yes, sir.
For setting on the 29th.
Of June.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Gentlemen, item D is just a quick acknowledgement of receipt of a $2,154 check on behalf of the county for the purpose of damage that was done to the Walters Volunteer Fire Department county-owned vehicle truck. A lady backed out into Shiloh Road in front of the truck and damaged the truck, and so there had to be a claim made for that damage. That has been recovered, and now we're being asked to execute a full release It's normal, matter-of-fact course of dealings with insurance companies. They've tendered the check, we need to sign a release. So this particular agenda item authorizes Keith to execute the release on behalf of the county in acknowledgement of receipt of the full damage.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
We have Brad making a motion, Jared seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Item E is just a quick discussion. We've received a written request from Roy's Fireworks to discuss a fireworks display in unincorporated Rankin County on July the 1st, 9 p.m. And we are acknowledging the receipt of all things required by Rankin County under our ordinance with respect to the plan, the insurance coverage, and I believe, Brett, we've already done the inspection on that one. Okay, so that one's all been done. It's ready to roll. We just need to.
Where is this located?
Help me out here. I'm not 100% sure. Stoll Road.
So there's another building been built, or is it just a fireworks stand?
I think this is
Display.
actually just a
This is a
display.
display.
This is some kind of display.
They're just
They have to
shooting
have
off
license,
fireworks.
certain licenses to do the display.
So is it just gonna be for that one day?
It's just a display.
Yeah.
It's associated with an event that's taking
Oh,
place.
yeah.
This is like something you do at the
Some event going
reservoir.
out there.
When they do the reservoir,
What is it?
July 4th deal, it's similar to that.
Like a fireworks display, cornhole, this whole big thing.
All right,
We just need a motion
Do we
to
have,
acknowledge receipt and to authorize the issuance of the permit.
all right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Jay makes a motion, Jared seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item F, Mr. President, is the adoption of a resolution amending the Rankin County Solid Waste Management Plan and authorizing the board president to execute the resolution that authorizes the amendment to the plan. This was done on behalf of Maintenance Systems, Inc. This is something the board conducted a public hearing on at our last meeting, so this is following up with the adoption of the resolution. We got no comments. This is that application of solid waste material that goes on property for purposes
Yep.
of agricultural uses.
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, Brad makes a motion, Jared seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Gentlemen, I've got several items under executive session that relate to litigation that I'm going to need to walk you through. I don't expect that to take very long. And I have two matters listed for additional business. In addition to the one that's printed there for you, I've got two matters that we need to discuss as well. I don't know that we're going to have to discuss that first item, are we? I think we're good to go with that one.
Okay.
Keith, do you have B?
I've got A and B.
Okay.
All right, item A is approval for Rankin County to enter into a annual computer software rental and support agreement with Data Systems Management and authority to execute those documents. This will be the replacement for our current software system from Delta.
Motion approved.
All right, Jay's made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Daniel seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And item B is the authorization for me to sign the large construction notice of intent for coverage under the large construction stormwater general NPDES permit, and this is related to the Mill Creek project.
What's a large construction?
It's whatever they define as large construction.
Over greater than 5 acres. If you disturb greater than 5 acres, you have to have a large construction permit.
Gotcha.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, Daniel makes a motion. Jay seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
And I do have one personnel issue under executive session needs to be discussed.
Thanks. Additional business?
Yep.
Where'd you go?
Craig,
Yes, sir.
you've got a couple, and then we've got to go back to 1C.
Do we need to go through A under additional business?
No, I think we got that handled. Yeah.
All right, so forget item A under additional business. Here's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. This really just come up recently. we have started receiving requests from cell tower operators and some of the larger telecommunications entities like your Verizons and your AT&Ts and others. They are slowly starting to move away from large monopole cell tower activity. They're not completely away from that, but they're starting to move to these more micro applications where they install what they call a small cell tower application. And they are 10 to 15 feet in height typically, even shorter than, say, a standard light pole.
Wow.
And they have infrastructure located on these more narrow, thin, steel-type pole structures that they will install. They've become fairly ubiquitous in densely populated areas, downtowns, and other places where the installation of a large tower is problematic, it's unsightly. And they are able to more blend them in with the surroundings and the aesthetics so that they don't stand out as much, and they're almost, you're almost unaware that they're there in most occasions. But they've become very, very active in trying to locate places. As you can imagine, these larger carriers, they're not really that hip or spry on having to pay private property owners for the privilege of locating there. So they love to find public property where they can throw these things up at no cost to them, and they hide behind the Telecommunications Act to be able to do that. Okay? So they are wanting desperately to get access to our public right-of-way, even in unincorporated county, because we have densely populated areas around the county. I give you the reservoir especially, where they can run in and just help themselves, they think, to the right-of-way and not alert anybody, not bother to communicate anything with anybody. And so I've talked to Tim and Mike about it, and we believe that it would be best if we implement some sort of permit requirement for these outfits to install these small cell tower applications. If they're going to put them in our right-of-way, we'd like to know about that. We need to know what is the depth. We need to know where the precise location is so we can be able to track these things. Sure. And the bigger picture, obviously, for us is that kind of our eyes have been open to the way that these folks will behave whenever we have road projects that implicate this kind of infrastructure, and we have need for them to get out of our way for road project purposes. The last thing I want is for us to be in the same exact situation that we found ourselves in with Entergy and with AT&T, where they're making demands on us to pay for them to get out of our way, okay? So at least for the purposes of a permit structure, I would like for them to have to complete the permit request. I'd like for them to pay any fees associated with our professionals for having to review all this stuff and keep up with it. At least that should not come out of the county taxpayers' expense. And I want them committed in their permit that if we ask them to relocate, they got 30 days to get out of the way, and they do it all at their expense. So I'm asking for a little bit of telegraphing from you guys. Do you see any issues with us implementing a permit structure for these small cell tower applications if they're going to go on public right-of-way? Does anybody have an issue with that?
I think it's a good idea.
Who's responsible, not the pole, but the maintenance around it? I mean, because we run bush hogs or whatever, and I can see where that would be like another sign, or, I mean, it's gonna cause.
It is absolutely going to conflict with right-of-way maintenance activities of the road department. That's why I think we need to know where are you and at what depth is your feed line, right, your power supply, at what depth is that, so we can make sure you're out of my way.
When they put a tower up, there's a rental or whatever fee. Is there a way that we can have a maintenance fee for wherever they put these down?
Yes, sir. I would suggest
somebody's got to do some maintenance.
I would
Wouldn't they put
suggest
some type of protection around it anyway?
It's not gonna stop the grass and
No, I
weeds
know,
and
but I
stuff.
mean, then they could, but if you had, then they could keep that clean themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that we would do, I'm just making sure that you guys are comfortable with the process that we would require a permit
Yes.
for this,
Yeah.
okay?
Definitely.
The structure of the permit and the requirements of the permit, we would spend time looking at how are other jurisdictions dealing with these folks.
I like for one of them to come and everybody who's the first applicant or whatever, let them come and show us a diagram of what it's gonna look like and
That's a good
what
idea.
will they have
I
around it.
suspect that this is gonna provide communication with people and places that are higher in density, because you're not gonna reach very far with a 10 or 15-foot cell.
Right.
And where we're hurting the worst is in the rural areas, where they have no internet. They have no way to, well, kids do their homework.
Yes, sir.
And I don't see that this is gonna be helpful at all.
No, so they don't have any incentive whatsoever to put this kind of infrastructure in a place that's not densely populated. This is for dense population applications.
And they already got Wi-Fi and stuff.
Yeah.
in most
Well,
of these
it
deals.
doesn't make, it's kinda odd that all of a sudden come
You
up.
have to have
In
fiber
the last few months, we've been going through
You gotta get
the
fiber
cell
everywhere.
tower deal, and because it need to be 200 more feet, or 20 more, 25 more feet, 50 more feet.
That application right there, Jared, is specific to vehicle traffic. This is much more residential and commercial application,
Okay.
right? So
Well, they're
this
not
is
gonna
for
be working in the-
structures.
It's
That
not
big
gonna help the
tower
rural
down
areas,
south
then.
is, no, it's not gonna help the rural area at all. It only has so far that it can reach being a small cell tower
Yeah.
application anyway. It's got a very limited profile on where it can, but it's the faster, it's the 5G you've heard
Yes,
about.
well, that city of Brandon's got them in downtown.
That's
The
right.
little
You just
ones?
don't see, yeah.
Yep.
Really?
Well, let's just do the permit and see how that goes and where
Yes.
they're looking.
Yeah.
And we can readdress it.
Well, we've talked a little bit about setting the fee that is commensurate with
Yeah.
the actual expenses. My idea at this stage, Steve, would be an application fee first, just by virtue of the fact that Ms. Renee's gonna have to touch it and deal with it. Tim's gonna have to
Yes.
touch it and deal with it. Mike's folks are gonna have to touch it and deal with it. So there needs to be some capture of that cost there. And then secondarily to that, the fact that we've got to maintain around it needs to be an annual ongoing fee, permit fee of some kind, right? So you got an application fee and a permit fee that would be annual. And so you can do cost recovery and capture through that process. I think we can get that solved. But to y'all's point, I've got one gentleman in particular, oddly enough, it was Verizon. And so initially, we got contacted by somebody that's like a third-party broker-type individual, not directly affiliated with Verizon, that reached out to Ms. Renee and requested some assistance on how to get a permit for a right-of-way application. And we walked the guy through all of that and got that application posted. In fact, it got all the way, I think we even were about ready to put it on one of your planning commission agendas. And then we got a hold on email directly from a Verizon representative based up on the eastern seaboard. And he announced, since we're going in your right of way, we don't need to go through all this. We already have the shot across the bow of, I'm coming in under the Telecommunications Act and I'm fixing to ride right over you, roughshod. And my red flags went off, and I think it's time for us to have a little bit of reset with those guys. And what I intend to do now is to ask the fella to be prepared to come to one of our upcoming board meetings and address specifically what their intentions are with you guys. And then maybe we'll figure out where things are going to go after that.
On the east seaboard.
Eastern Seaboard man, I'm going to invite him to come.
He's talking on this side of the reservoir. All right.
He's going to have to, Wyatt Hicks is going to have to fly him down here.
Do we need any type activity on that?
That's just an update for you guys to know that that's coming, it's out there, and we will move forward with work to establish a permit on that basis. Y'all need to address consent agenda item 1C. That was under additional business as well, and then I've got, we have five items under executive session to walk y'all through.
Wow.
So what is
All right.
the,
Back earlier this year, you guys agreed to move 1.6 million back into the road budget from general county.
right,
This 600,000 is part of that 1.6 million, and we're just putting it into the road department's line item.
okay,
Okay.
that was easy enough.
All right,
You didn't remember that?
make a motion.
I make motion approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Jay makes motion, Brad seconds. Any other discussion?
I guess, yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Well, what project's this going to? Just various, whatever?
Well, this is to complete all the lists that y'all reviewed earlier.
I guess, okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
You wanna say something there, Mr. Harris? You
Yeah,
standing
ain't
up?
nothing about that.
Hey, Mike, tell us where we're at while you're up there under additional business. The clipping and spraying, I know we're probably way behind with the weather, and now we've got limbs everywhere. What's the plan? Because it's starting to get up pretty high, but
Yeah, I'm starting to think
Yeah,
about it.
so
Yeah.
that's what I was coming up here for, to kind of talk about
Okay.
that, Steve. So, you know, our road project's on schedule to finish up by the end of the month like we had planned. They're working on the last two projects right now, so they'll be complete with that.
Well, you know what I'm talking about, asphalt, you're not talking about the.
I'm talking about the asphalt
Yeah.
part, now I'm going to the bush hogging, but anyway.
Grants.
No, but I'm talking about,
Lance, can you stay 1 second?
I'm talking
One
about
other
like the
thing.
micro and all.
We're
or
just
like
getting started.
Triangle Acres, so that, isn't that considered a project too, though?
Yes, sir. We
So we're
just
not
had-
gonna get it done by,
No, sir, but we had a schedule we was trying to meet by the end of June
Okay.
that y'all tasked
That
me
was the
with,
part,
and
well, where
we're
you
on the-
working,
we're on the
gonna
last-
do with it, yeah.
we're on the last two projects finishing up. If weather breaks this week or next week, we'll finish them up.
Gotcha.
So we're moving forward with that, and then we're gonna move into our micro and scrub seal process. Bush hogging, Steve, we've had some problems with some tractors this year. We're back running, we're gonna be down for probably a couple days this week, or this week, just trying to get the limbs out right away, but
Right.
as soon as we kinda get back rolling, I think things have come together. We're gonna start our spray program up 1st of June. We got
We already
I mean,
passed that.
July. I talked to them down there at the coast, and they're supposed to be moving in after the 4th of July to start spraying that we approved last board meeting. So I'm hoping the next 30, 40 days, things kinda come together on it.
Hey, Mike, I know all across the county, we've got limbs down, trees down, stuff like that. Tons of calls, obviously, on debris pickup. Notification of that, do we need to just go to our normal email to you guys on locations of debris to be picked up? I've just explained to everybody, get it to the roadway, we'll make passages through for the next week and a half or so, obviously to catch up. Do you got a contact or something you want us to, a specific email address I can put out to show them?
Rankin County Road Department at .org.
Would it help if, I know we got.
Well, I'm gonna try to get Wilts to put out on our website.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to Wilts after we get through here to put like a specific deal that it'll go to, like we usually do in these storm situations. I think one task that I was up here for is me and Keith running into this issue this weekend, not from y'all, but we're just getting buku of calls of where we need to take these limbs, where do we need to take stuff.
Yep.
I don't know whether y'all wanna set up some sites, what you wanna do.
Can we
They
do it
bring
on?
them to county barn our way, aren't they?
Huh?
They bring it down to county barn at our way, on our end.
Marquette seems like a good spot to go.
Man, some people will do a good job, and others you gonna just throw.
Well, I know what's
from
gonna
where
happen.
they're at
I
to
mean,
where
we set these
they're
sites up,
dumping.
Steve, you know, we would have to put dumpsters at them, and we'll have to man them to keep people. And a lot of these sites will be unfenced, so you're gonna end up with a ton of
You're
stuff
gonna get
there.
everything and debris.
Well, would it help out on getting over the county, being this is so widespread, is, you know, we got the trustees picking up everyday garbage pretty much on the side of the road. Let them go ahead and bunch some of this stuff up, because, I mean, you might go a mile before you get to one big limb here, and then go another 2 or 3 miles before you get
So what we're doing, Brad, is we've got two wood chippers, We've got them hooked behind trucks.
Just grinding them up right there.
We're going through and they're picking up everything that they can handle. And then we're pinpointing where the crews has gotta go with the excavators to pick up the large
The
stuff.
big logs, yeah.
But it's gonna take a couple of weeks. We'll
Yes.
probably keep everybody on it this week. We probably won't be doing much road maintenance unless it's an emergency. We'll be doing mostly debris cleanup this week to try to free up these roads, cause a lot of it we just got out of the road, that's all. You know, so.
Right.
Or getting back to the bush hogging deal, you were saying you've had tractor issues. Is it because the tractors are in age, you got a lot of hours on them? Do we need to?
Got a lot of hours on them, something we're gonna have to look at next year at budget time, and we'll talk about that at that point, but.
Man, are you serious? I thought we didn't have these equipment over a year.
I got 3 tractors, got 7,000 hours on them.
That's the new one.
No, it's an old one.
That's the old ones. But we have problems out of the new ones too, James. It's 2 years old too.
It just seems like we have a very good fleet. I can't believe we have to operate on them.
There's a difference in the tractors he's talking about and construction equipment that we have.
Okay.
But I've kinda got some plans with that. There's some things that, you know, I know,
Keith,
and I
you
just
said we
kinda,
wasn't gonna be buying anymore.
We not this year.
That,
We're not
that was one meeting ago. I won't pull the tape back.
but no, what we have seen, to give you a little bit of heads up, where we have been drafting in the winter, those roads seem to have took the less impact.
Sure
You know,
did.
the limbs, we had everything high enough that the limbs got out of the road, so you was able to travel those roads.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've reached out to some contractors or talked about it for the last few years. I don't know whether the board, we can't handle the whole county. I mean, we got one machine and pretty good job cleaning up behind this thing. I didn't know whether the board was interested in me reaching out to some contractors
Yes.
and talking about that to them and see if we can come up
Bring
with
it back to us quickly,
It's probably gonna be expensive.
quickly.
But I mean, it's expensive, Jared, cause I mean, it takes
Oh, I
2
know.
bush hog
I
crews
know.
and
Yeah,
inmate
I'm saying.
crews. It takes a bunch of people to
Start
manage this thing.
countywide, you're talking about
Well,
some kind
as
of.
these tops and things sit there, then they got undergrowth that comes up through them and
But if we can get our main roads, our state aid roads and our main traffic roads cleaned up, I mean, at least it'll give us first responders and stuff a way to get in. But that was, I seen where that did help us a lot, the draft, you know, working in the wintertime. But we just can't run it all year because
Well, I
those
know
guys
the
run
last,
the bush off.
pretty much the last state aid road y'all did was Star Brandon Road.
Yeah.
How many trees went across it
I
during
think
this
there was
storm?
one tree and it completely fell across the road, right? Nothing we could've done about that.
They cleared back
Yeah.
further anyway, we know it.
Right,
I noticed
I know.
it did a lot better.
But that was one road we did
While
have
you're
to.
there, I
buy.
got a quick question. I don't know if y'all are, but I got, and I'm getting phone calls about a lot of, when we're gonna strike roads, not just the roads we're doing, not the new. We got old roads that don't have, you can't see any stripes on them. And they know we got a striping machine, so they start.
I mean, it's just like everything else. When
I
we
know.
bought the striping machine, it was gonna be just used as we could use it with other crews. I mean, we can shut down on something
These
else.
roads, some of these roads, and I'll tell you, one Myers Road, you can't see a line one on it. You can't see them.
I understand.
So, but I hear that a lot all over about, man, can you just put some stripes on the road? Or can't you just get a stripe down the side?
We're trying to get to it, Jared. I mean, it's just,
I've
That's
got,
just what I'm
I've got a
saying.
road.
A couple of them, I've been talking about for a couple of years now.
I don't remember ever seeing a stripe on it.
But,
Taylor Way. If you go to striping it, you're gonna have just 2 bicycle lanes.
correct. Correct. But yeah, we're trying to get
All right.
around everything.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I know this well,
Thank you.
trees messed up everything. But-
Now, can I have one additional business that, because of the storms, but it's not just the recent storms, we have them here, and it looks like we have more to come this summer. And our weather or emergency, sirens are aging, we know that. And Mike, can you come up? Absolutely. And Lance, you know the logistics about things. I know we over the last 3 or 4 years, we've been pushing the weather alerts on the cell phones.
Correct.
And,
Yeah, not we, some people have.
well,
Yeah, let's get that straight.
it is better than not having, a siren. And I really think it's better even if you do have a siren.
I agree.
Because you hear it in your house.
Yeah, sirens only will go so far depending on which way the wind's blowing and,
Well-
you're gonna reach some, you're not gonna reach others.
In the situation we were in, a lot of people in the rural areas didn't have electricity. So they were running generators, fans. You couldn't hear a siren.
Right.
So here comes another storm. So, some people would call me, they didn't hear any sirens last night. Others said they did. But anyhow, I want y'all to make another better effort or just be more available. A lot of people aren't like myself, technology. You know, you go to the website and you go step by step, and I did it. But do we have a phone number that somebody can call and one of your employees?
Sure, they can call the EOC and we'll walk them through it. So,
Yeah.
kind of give you a little update of where that is. We have talked, Shane's still here. We've talked to the school board back before school got out, and we are now, Justin Allen is packaging up the QR codes and all this, kind of some really good literature digitally that we're going to hand off to the school board that they're going to put inside of their packets. It's going to push out to all the moms and dads that have kids in Rankin County School District, which we believe is going to hit a lot of people.
Yep.
So that's forthcoming on the Regroup. Regroup did an app update just a couple of weeks ago that really messed everything up. That's why everybody's phones are blowing up. I actually blocked their phone number last night because I couldn't even use my phone. So we are going to be in conversation with them this week of why we're paying the amount of money we are, and they're not communicating to us when they do updates. And we also understand that it was a few minutes behind, about 15 minutes behind on warnings.
Yeah.
We want to know what's going on with that, especially with the money that we're paying. On the sirens, these sirens are absolutely aging big time.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I talked to Mr. Hicks just a few minutes ago via text about wanting to address you guys on that. Kind of tell you where we are. Parts availability, 0. The ACE 3600, the computer control board, you cannot buy them. They're not available. So, can you fix existing broken sirens? Absolutely you can. However, when you replace the components inside of that, our software no longer talks to it. So now you've got double software to talk. I don't know if you saw me earlier when I walked out of the room, the reason I did was to call the guy from Alabama that I've been in talks with for about 3 weeks now. He tells me he should have numbers next week, and we're just going to look at it and see if it is going to be cost prohibitive or if it's a thing to do of retrofitting all of our sirens with new hardware that will allow us to get back to use those things. We are getting inundated right now with text, phone calls, and social media posts. Beth's down there about to cry now because she's been cussed out about 6 times this morning because sirens don't go off. Well, I can't help it. A siren doesn't go off when the control board is bad and it's $17,000 to fix it, times 42 to make it all go. We are working on it. Again, that is almost 75-year-old technology. So it is what it is. I got thick skin. I get cussed out every day, so no big deal for me. I don't really appreciate my employees getting cussed out, but it is what it is. It's the nature of the beast. So I'll talk to you guys later, if you will, on how you want us to go and address that to the citizens of Rankin County. They call us all the time. Hey, this siren, we are aware. The siren is broke. There is no parts availability, but obviously that's not good enough for them. So, and I get it. They're mad. They're upset.
I'm interested in having these people moved over to a higher technology, this right here.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Well, it reaches further.
Well,
It
now,
reaches way further
Steve,
than
did
the
your phone,
technology
did
we've
your
got out
phone
there
work
now.
during that time? See,
Yes.
mine,
Yep.
down right, mine was completely out.
Mine was going off.
No, I'm saying during
Well, I
that,
think the
my
cell
phone
phone
was-
towers were
No.
some of them
Yeah.
got turned or
Right,
whatever. but-
right.
Okay.
So, I mean, they didn't work. So I don't know.
The sales
Catch
in my
22.
area, in District 4, I'd never heard that they had any problems with their cell phones. But they did have some times that either the siren didn't go off or it went off after the tornado went through.
Right. And that's the thing too, is our sirens, the way that they set off, they're a manual set off. So, they can be set off in one of two places, either the EOC or the Sheriff's Department Dispatch Center. So they have to wait until such time as their cell phone goes off and it tells them, hey, we're under a tornado warning. Oh, let me go look and see where it is. Bring up this set of sirens, push.
Yep.
So what we're looking at now is a totally automated system that totally removes that human factor from it. And it's automatic. As soon as the National Weather Service puts it out, boom, it pushes it out.
But is it gonna send off signal to all of them or just that location?
Probably zone it off.
According to the guy that I'm talking to in Alabama with Capital, I think it's Capital Precision Warning, it will be defined to basically the polygon of the actual tornado warning, the way I understand it. So, but he's got to go touch every one of them, all 42. And we're looking at that now to see what that cost number is going to be. Me personally, just throw your numbers. I'm thinking we're looking somewhere between $250,000 and $300,000. That's what I'm thinking.
All right.
As we sit right now, you got somewhere in the neighborhood of about a $1.25 million investment on those sirens, but they are, and there's a lot of counties that are taking them down and just doing away with them.
Right.
Because
I mean,
they're
I
super
think
expensive.
that at some point we'll probably get to that.
I think the idea of putting the literature in with the kids at the schools,
Yep.
and they can bring it home to the parents. And
But if
scan that
Lance
barcode.
can look at the mapping data and stuff, to where we know what zones we want to go to, and y'all can continue doing what you're doing, and say in the mic the phone number for people to call.
Sure.
I'm not saying to call and ask about the weather, but to call and go through the steps.
We're setting up the regroup. Yeah.
Could it be just recording, maybe to get them off the?
I don't know.
I don't
I mean,
know.
if you're like me,
Well, we could probably go in
Yeah,
and
that
put a
would
step by
work.
step up on the internet so that, we can show them screenshots
Yeah.
of, okay, this
Yeah.
is going,
Yeah,
screen's gonna
take
go up,
a
this
lot of
screen's gonna
time
come up.
talking on the phone.
if you got one person in an area that gets set up, that person can help all their neighbors get set up. And,
Amazing what a good website could do for you.
well, it does.
Yes.
Let us speak with the folks at Regroup first
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
get that part nailed down. That's the most critical component, is if they're gonna play ball with us, fine. If they're not, then we can
We got other options.
we can take our money somewhere else. I hate for them to not be able to sleep at night
Real
for taking our money.
targets are grandparents, really. A 6-year-old
agree.
kid can do it
Oh, yeah.
right there. But, okay, all right.
And I'll be the first to tell you that our aging generation that they believe those sirens. We're not gonna change that. They want them.
Yep.
They hear them, and they are, in their mind, they just do not feel confident if they can't hear the siren.
Yep.
And I get that. I get it, so.
Yeah, but they're the ones that living right under it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've never heard a siren outright.
I'm with you.
Unless I'm riding.
I'm
by.
with you. There's not one within probably 6 or 7 miles of my house.
I'd probably jump if I heard one, like, what's that?
Thank you,
Yes, sir.
and, thank y'all.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And thank y'all for what you did.
Can I add one thing on the,
Additional?
well, yeah, it was kinda, I mentioned about who to contact, stuff like that. Bishop hit on it again, and I know we've talked about it. But our website obviously doesn't surprise you, but when we go to the road department on the website, which is what I encourage them to do, and it gives a telephone number. It says, or click here to create a request. It goes to an area that's down. You scroll down below it, and it says email us. And you got Mike Harrison's email address, which I'm totally fine with Mike getting all these emails. But my point is, our website sucks.
Yep.
And I say that with just a lot of frustration. Because I tell them to go to our website. The top page here says, for information about tree or limb pickup, contact the road department at this telephone number. Telephone number doesn't mean anything late in the night when somebody can send an email. Or create a request here. So it says click here. Well, when I click here, it takes me to a spot that says, we're sorry, but we've encountered an error with this request, and you're attempting to access this page no longer is available. So here we are back in the middle of this issue. So the reason I asked that question is I'd like the thing fixed. Because people are having problems with debris down, storms, stuff down, and I can send them all on Mike's email, but he gets to 150 a day to start with, right? And you see my frustration.
Yeah.
And I thought that had already been fixed, so.
But, and maybe, I'm just saying, I clicked on this and then I clicked on this here.
I've never had
This,
anybody
this
be
computer's on
successful with our
dial-up, so it's a
website.
little slower. But, I mean, still, when I got through it, that's kinda my problems, so.
All right. Anything else under additional business?
No.
All right, do I have a motion to go into executive session for legal and personnel?
Litigation and personnel.
Litigation and personnel. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Daniel made a motion. I second it. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, we are going into executive session.